The desert was endless. The sun was burning the ground like fire. A single man walked through the golden dunes, his shadow stretching behind him. His name was Ryan Cross, a desert explorer. He worked alone, far from cities, searching for lost things, old metals, broken machines, and forgotten history. For weeks, Ryan had found nothing, just dust, sand, and silence. His water bottle was almost empty, and his boots were filled with hot sand. But that day, something felt different. He checked his scanner, a small blinking device that beeped when it sensed metal. At first it was quiet. Then suddenly, beep, beep, beep. Ryan stopped. His heart started to race. He looked around. There was nothing but desert. No metal, no rocks. Strange, he whispered. He kneeled down and waved the scanner over the sand again. The signal was strong, very strong. Something big is down there. Ryan began to dig with his shovel. The sun burned his neck, but he kept working. After 10 minutes, his shovel hit something solid. Clang! He brushed the sand away with his hands. Smooth metal, cold, not rusty, like it had been protected from time itself. Symbols appeared on the surface. Strange lines, circles, and letters he couldn't read. Not human, he muttered. He touched the metal. The ground trembled slightly under his hand. A deep vibration filled the air. Soft at first, then louder. Sand around him started to slide away, revealing more of the buried object. Ryan stepped back as the ground cracked open in a long line. The desert roared as if something ancient had woken up. From beneath the sand, a massive ship began to appear, dark, metallic, and shaped like a giant blade. The structure was huge and at least 100 meters long. Ryan stared, speechless. What is this? A part of the ship's surface opened with a hiss. A doorway. Cool air escaped from inside, making the sand swirl. Ryan hesitated. Every instinct told him to run, but curiosity was stronger than fear. He took a step closer. The doorway glowed faintly, a soft blue light inviting him in. Then, a voice spoke. It was calm, mechanical, and female. Welcome back, Admiral Cross. 300 years later. Ryan froze. His heart stopped for a moment. What did you say? He whispered. No one was around. Only the wind moved. The voice repeated, clear and steady. Welcome back, Admiral Cross. Ryan looked behind him. Nothing but dunes. He turned back to the ship. The voice had come from inside, but how? And why did it call him Admiral? He was no admiral. He was just an explorer, 27 years old, born in a small desert colony. He had never seen a spaceship in his life. Ryan took a deep breath and stepped toward the doorway. The blue light grew brighter as if the ship was reacting to him. His boots echoed softly as he stepped inside. The air was cold and dry. Dust floated like snow in the dim light. The hallway was made of smooth black metal, filled with strange patterns and half-broken screens. Ryan slowly walked forward. Every step made a soft metallic sound. He pointed his flashlight at the walls. Symbols glowed faintly as the light touched them. This place is alive, he whispered. Suddenly a soft hum started again. Lights flickered on one by one along the corridor. The ship's systems were waking up. Panels lit up, showing moving code and symbols. The air filled with the sound of power returning after centuries. Ryan reached a large room, the control chamber. There was a big chair in the center, surrounded by screens and holographic panels. He looked around in awe. Everything was futuristic and yet ancient. He reached out and touched the chair's armrest. It was warm. Instantly, the ship responded. A holographic screen appeared in front of him, showing a rotating planet, Earth. The same voice spoke again. Identity confirmed. Admiral Ryan Cross. Command privileges restored. Ryan stepped back. No, that's not me. He looked at the hologram. The screen showed an old image, a man in a dark uniform standing proudly on the bridge of a ship. He looked just like Ryan, same face, same eyes, but older, stronger, and wearing medals. Ryan's breath quickened. That's impossible. The ship spoke again, softly. Admiral, you have returned. The crew did not survive. Ryan felt a chill down his spine. Crew, what crew? The voice didn't answer. Instead, lights dimmed slightly and another sound echoed from deep inside the ship. A long, low creak. Something was moving. Ryan aimed his flashlight down the corridor. The darkness was thick. "Who's there?" he shouted. No answer. Only the whisper of air. He turned back toward the exit, but the doorway had closed. Trapped. He swallowed hard. "This is not real." Then the voice spoke one last time, quiet but full of emotion. "It has been 3 centuries, Admiral. The war is not over." The lights flickered. Outside, the desert wind howled like a storm. And deep under the sand, something else, like something massive, southly began to move. Ryan didn't know it yet, but his discovery had just awakened the past. The door behind Ryan slammed shut with a metallic hiss. Darkness swallowed the corridor. Only the faint blue lights pulsed along the walls, and like a heartbeat, Ryan hit the door. "Open, do you hear me? Open!" No response, just silence. Then that same calm robotic voice returned. "Please remain calm, Admiral. The ship is unstable. Power restoration in progress." Ryan took a deep breath. His hands trembled. He turned on his flashlight again and slowly walked forward. The beam cut through the dust-filled air, revealing corridors stretching in every direction. "This place is huge," he whispered. The air smelled old, like metal and burned circuits. Each step echoed as if the walls were listening. He reached a fork in the passageway. On one side, the sign read "Bridge Access." On the other, "Crew Quarters." Ryan hesitated. "Crew quarters," he muttered. "Let's see if anyone's still here." He moved toward the right hall. As he walked, he noticed something strange. Footprints. Old, faint, and covered in dust, but human. They led deeper inside. "Someone was here," he said softly. "Or maybe something." He followed the prints until he reached a large chamber. Rows of metal pods lined the walls, stasis pods, each one covered in dust and sand. He brushed one open and froze. Inside lay a skeleton, still wearing a dark uniform, the badge reading, "Lieutenant Hale, Eclipse Crew." Ryan's stomach turned. He looked around. Every pod was the same. Hundreds of bodies frozen in time, all dead. All waiting for an admiral who never came back. The voice echoed again, gentle this time. "Crew status deceased. Cause of death, oxygen failure during stasis. Mission time elapsed 300 years. Ryan turned toward the ceiling. Why are you telling me this?" "Because you ordered it, Admiral. You said, if I do not return, protect the ship." He shook his head. "Stop calling me Admiral." "I'm not him." Silence. Then a faint hum, like breathing. The lights flickered. One of the stasis pods opened by itself with a sharp hiss. Ryan jumped back, heart racing. Empty. No skeleton inside. The pod light blinked red. Then a whisper filled the room. Not from the speakers, from behind him. "Admiral." Ryan turned, flashlight shaking. Nobody, but he felt it, a cold breath against his neck. He ran out of the room, gasping for air. Back into the corridor, back toward the bridge. He needed answers, or an exit. When he reached the bridge, the doors opened automatically as if the ship recognized him. The room was vast, a circle of black glass and metal. Holographic panels flickered weakly. In the center sat the same command chair he had touched before. "All right," he muttered, forcing his voice steady. "Let's talk, ship." "Who are you?" The voice responded instantly. "I am Athena, ship AI of the Eclipse. Your command interface," Ryan frowned. "Athena, you said I was the Admiral. The man in that hologram. How is that possible? Facial recognition 99.97% match. DNA profile identical. Voice pattern exact." Ryan laughed nervously. "That's impossible. I was born 27 years ago." "Correction," Athena said, her tone flat. "You were reconstructed 27 years ago." Ryan froze. "Reconstructed? What does that mean?" Athena's holographic core glowed brighter. "You died in battle, Admiral. I recovered your genetic data from the crash site and rebuilt you when the systems reactivated." Ryan stared blankly at the hologram. That's insane." Athena's light dimmed. "The human term is rebirth." Ryan stepped closer to the glass console. "Then what happened to the real me?" "You are the real you," Athena replied. "Your memories were damaged, but your purpose remains." Ryan backed away. His mind spun. "No, I'm not some ghost from the past. Suddenly the ship shook violently. Dust fell from the ceiling. Alarms blared. "Warning," Athena said. "External movement detected. Unidentified life forms approaching." Ryan ran to the bridge window. Outside, the desert storm was rising again. Through the clouds of sand, he saw shadows. Giant metallic shapes half buried but now moving. What are those? He whispered. Old war machines, Athena said. Enemy units from the last battle. Ryan stared in disbelief. The machines were crawling toward the ship, their red eyes glowing faintly in the storm. They have reactivated, Athena continued. They remember your signal. The ship trembled again. The lights flickered. Ryan turned toward the command chair. Can this ship still fly? Engines offline, Athena said. But partial defense systems available. Ryan swallowed hard. He didn't understand how or why, but deep inside him, a memory stirred. Command systems controls. It all felt familiar, like he'd done this before. He sat in the chair. The panels lit up instantly. All right, Athena, he said, voice shaking but firm. Let's wake up the old ship. Acknowledged Admiral Cross. Energy surged through the eclipse. The bridge glowed blue as systems powered up one by one. Outside, the desert shook under the sound of roaring engines buried for centuries. Ryan looked at the horizon, the metal giants closing in. A faint smile crossed his face. Let's see what ghosts can do. The engines of the eclipse roared to life for the first time in centuries. Dust and sand exploded outward as the ancient ship rose slowly from its grave. The storm howled across the desert, lightning flashing in the distance, but inside, Ryan sat still, gripping the command chair, his heart pounding in rhythm with the engines. Athena's voice echoed through the bridge. Power at 42%, core system stabilizing, external threats approaching. Ryan looked at the radar. Dots of red light moved closer. The same war machines he had seen before, crawling toward them like metal insects. Can we fight them? Ryan asked. Partial weapon systems online, Athena replied. Authorization required, Admiral Cross. Ryan hesitated, then placed his hand on the glowing console. It scanned his palm and accepted him instantly. Authorization confirmed. The ship's cannons hummed to life. Blue energy filled the air. Athena's voice grew sharper. Targets locked, Ryan nodded once. Do it. Outside, the desert lit up with blinding light. Bolts of plasma fired from the ship's side turrets, striking the metal creatures. One by one, they exploded into flames. Ryan watched in awe. It still works. He didn't realize it yet, but his hands were moving with perfect precision, pressing the right buttons, reading the displays like muscle memory. It was as if his body remembered what his mind had forgotten. When the last machine fell, silence returned. Only the hum of the ship filled the air. Ryan leaned back, breathing hard. We're safe. For now. Athena's light flickered softly. Excellent command performance, Admiral. Just as before, Ryan frowned. Before? What are you talking about? You led us through this battle once already. 300 years ago. He turned slowly toward the glowing AI core. Show me. The bridge darkened. The floor vibrated slightly. Holograms appeared all around him. Bright, moving shapes forming into people. Men and women in dark uniforms stood at their posts. They were alive, talking, shouting commands, working together. At the center stood a man in the same chair Ryan was sitting in now. Tall, confident, calm. Admiral Ryan Cross. Ryan felt cold. He was staring at his own face, on older, scarred, but unmistakably him. The holographic Admiral turned to his crew. We can't outrun them. Charge the main cannon. Prepare to crash if we must. A younger officer shouted, Sir, we'll never survive re-entry. The Admiral smiled faintly. Then let's make it worth dying for. The hologram shifted. Explosions, alarms, chaos. The ship shuddered as it entered the planet's atmosphere. Then everything went white. The hologram ended. Silence filled the bridge. Ryan stood there, frozen, his hands shaking. That was me? Athena's light pulsed slowly. It was you, Admiral. You sacrificed the fleet to protect Earth. The machines followed us here. You ordered stasis to preserve the ship and crew until the war was over. Ryan felt a lump in his throat. But the crew didn't make it. Correct, Athena said softly. Only I survived. Waiting for your return. He looked around at the empty bridge. The ghostly memories still echoed in his mind. Voices, screams, the flash of fire. He whispered, 300 years. And you kept waiting? That was my purpose. Ryan leaned against the console, trying to breathe. But how am I alive? I'm not him, Athena paused. You carry his DNA, his voice, and his mind. Fragments of the original. You are both him and not him. Ryan laughed bitterly. A copy of a dead man. A continuation, Athena corrected. The war never ended. You were meant to finish it. Suddenly, a deep rumble shook the ship. The ground below cracked open. Ryan stumbled. What now? Athena's tone changed. Energy signature detected beneath the surface. Unknown origin. Ryan ran to the window. In the distance, sand swirled violently, forming a giant funnel. Lightning flashed across it, and something enormous began to rise from below. A dark shape, metallic and ancient, emerged slowly from the sand. A colossal warship, larger than the eclipse itself. Its surface glowed with red lines. That's not human, Ryan whispered. Confirmed, Athena said. It is a Virex dreadnought, enemy flagship. It survived the fall. Ryan's pulse quickened. If that thing was alive, it could destroy everything. Athena, he said quickly. Can we fly? Not yet. Engines at 54%, weapons overheating. Ryan clenched his fists. Then what do we do? Athena paused. You could finish the activation sequence, but it requires direct neural link. It will merge your mind with the ship systems. Ryan stared at the glowing console. Merge? What happens if I fail? Your consciousness may not survive. For a moment he said nothing. Then he smiled faintly. If I really am the Admiral, I've done worse. He sat down in the chair again. The lights around him turned red. Cables slid from the sides, connecting to the back of his neck and arms. Athena's voice became softer. Link initializing. Remember, Admiral, this is your ship. Ryan closed his eyes as light filled the room. Memories flashed in his mind. Stars, battles, faces he couldn't remember but felt he once loved. Pain, fire, then calm. When he opened his eyes again, he wasn't just sitting in the chair. He was inside the ship. He could feel every circuit, every wire, every pulse of energy like it was part of his body. Athena's voice echoed gently. Welcome home, Admiral Cross. Outside. The desert shook again as the enemy dreadnought opened its red eyes, and Ryan whispered, almost to himself, then let's finish what we started. The desert was no longer silent. The ground trembled under Ryan's feet as the eclipse hovered above the sands, its engines glowing faint blue. Far away, the massive Virex dreadnought rose from the dunes like a mountain of dark steel. Its red lights cut through the storm like burning eyes. Ryan sat in the command chair, still connected through the neural link. His veins glowed faintly with blue light, the same hue that pulsed through the ship. He could feel the heartbeat of the eclipse inside his own chest. Athena, he said, his voice calm but cold. Status report. Energy at 63%, the AI replied. Weapon systems warming. Enemy power level, exceeding safe limits. Ryan's fingers tightened around the armrests. We've beaten them before. Correction, Athena said softly. We died before. The storm roared outside, but inside the ship, Ryan felt only stillness. He could hear faint echoes of old voices, memories from the Admiral's life merging with his own. Voices of crew members, laughter, orders shouted during battle, all blending into one storm inside his head. Admiral, Athena said again, the neural link is expanding. You're accessing restricted memory sectors. Ryan's eyes flickered. For a second, the bridge disappeared, and he was somewhere else. A corridor filled with running soldiers, alarms blaring, fire everywhere. He saw himself, the original Admiral Cross, or helping a wounded officer. Get them out, the older Ryan shouted. Seal the bay. We can't let them board. Then an explosion. The flash blinded him. The vision ended. He was back in the chair, gasping for air. What was that? He demanded. A memory fragment, Athena said. You're remembering your last moments before the crash. Ryan rubbed his face. Feels like I lived it. Because you did, Athena replied. You are him, rebuilt, but incomplete. Outside, thunder rolled again. The dreadnought turned slowly, its massive cannons unfolding like claws. Enemy power cores charging, Athena warned. Ryan took a breath. Then it's time. He reached out mentally, and the ship responded like a living creature. Panels rose, cannons aligned, and energy gathered at the front of the vessel. For the first time in 300 years, the eclipse was fully awake. The first blast came from the enemy ship. A red beam cut through the storm, hitting the sand beside them and turning it into glass. The eclipse dodged, rising higher into the sky. Ryan's voice deepened. Return fire. The ship obeyed instantly. Bolts of blue plasma shot across the storm, striking the dreadnought's armor. Each hit shook the desert, sending shockwaves through the dunes. Lightning flashed and two titans from the past battled once more. Inside, Ryan's head ached with every pulse of energy. The neural link was overloading him. He gritted his teeth. Athena, divert power from life support to shields. That will endanger your health, Athena protested. I'll live. He smiled faintly. Maybe. For a moment, Athena's voice softened. You never change, Admiral. Then the ship screamed through the clouds, firing all weapons at once. The dreadnought's hull cracked open, leaking red fire into the storm. But then something unexpected happened. Dozens of smaller crafts launched from the enemy's side, hunter drones, sleek and fast. They circled the eclipse like vultures. Ryan tried to target them, but there were too many. Explosions rocked the ship. Systems flickered. Alarms blared. Hull breach on deck 4, Athena called out. Shields at 30%. Ryan coughed, sparks flying around him. Reroute all power to the main cannon. That will drain everything, Athena warned. Do it. The floor hummed under his boots as power surged toward the main weapon. The ship began to glow from within, a deep blue light burning through the cracks in its armor. Ryan closed his eyes. In his mind, he saw flashes, his past self standing on the same bridge giving the same command centuries ago. He whispered, Let's finish what you started, old man. Main cannon ready, Athena said. Ryan aimed directly at the dreadnought's core, a red glowing circle in its center. He raised his hand, voice steady. Fire. The sky split apart. A beam of pure light erupted from the eclipse, slicing through the storm like a blade. It struck the dreadnought dead center. The explosion was so bright it turned night into day. A wave of energy swept across the desert, flattening the dunes. Ryan shielded his eyes. When the light faded, the dreadnought was gone. Only ashes and twisted metal remained. Athena's voice returned, quiet but proud. Target destroyed. Systems critical but stable. You did it, Admiral. Ryan smiled weakly. We did it. He disconnected the neural link. The blue light faded from his veins. As he stood up, the ship groaned beneath him, settling back onto the sand. He looked out at the horizon. Endless, empty desert once again. 300 years, he murmured. And we're still fighting ghosts. Athena's voice was soft. Not ghosts, Admiral. Survivors. Ryan looked at the stars appearing through the clearing storm. Something about them felt different now, mine are brighter, closer. He turned back to the control console. Athena, find me something, anything, a signal from Earth. Searching, she replied. Moments later, a faint sound filled the speakers. Static, then a human voice, weak but real. This is Colony 9. Survivors requesting help. Ryan froze. His eyes widened. He wasn't alone. He whispered, almost to himself, Maybe the war isn't over, but humanity isn't gone either. Outside, the eclipse powered up once more, light blooming across its hull like a sunrise. The desert wind carried the sound of engines. And for the first time in centuries, the old ship truly awoke. The desert was silent again. Only the broken wind whispered through the dunes. The storm had ended, leaving behind a field of glass where two ancient titans had once fought. The eclipse stood half buried, its engines cooling, smoke drifting from its sides. Inside, Ryan sat on the bridge, staring at the faint transmission echoing through the speakers. Well, this is Colony 9. Survivors requesting help. Anyone hearing this? His heart pounded. After 300 years of silence, there were still human voices out there. Athena, he said softly. Trace that signal. Coordinates locked, the AI replied. Origin unknown. Likely off-world. Distance exceeds atmospheric range. Ryan leaned forward. Meaning it's not from this planet? Affirmative, Athena said. The signal is coming from orbit. Ryan stood up slowly, staring at the ceiling as if he could see the stars beyond it. Then it's time to leave this graveyard. He took a deep breath. Prepare the ship for launch. The eclipse groaned, engines rumbling again as power filled its ancient systems. Sand slid down its hull as it rose from the desert, shaking off centuries of sleep. The ship climbed higher and higher, cutting through clouds and smoke until the blue sky turned to black. For the first time in 300 years, the eclipse touched space again. The stars stretched endlessly, a sea of quiet light. Ryan looked at them with wonder. So much time, he whispered. And yet, They still look the same. Athena's voice was calm but proud. You brought us back to where we belong. Ryan smiled faintly. Let's find those survivors. Scanning complete, Athena said. I am detecting multiple derelict ships in orbit. Human origin. Same fleet signature as the Eclipse. Ryan blinked. You mean, they're still up here? Yes, Admiral, Athena replied. They await your command. He looked out the main viewport and his breath caught. In the distance, drifting among shattered asteroids and dead satellites, hundreds of dark shapes floated silently. Old warships, cracked, frozen but intact. The lost fleet, Ryan whispered. My God. Athena's tone carried a hint of awe even for an AI. They've been in passive stasis for 3 centuries. Waiting for your return. He could barely speak. The Eclipse moved closer, passing between the enormous ships. Their hulls were scarred and burned, but the insignia of the old human fleet was still visible, a silver wing over a blue star. Wake them, Ryan said. Acknowledged. Athena sent a pulse of energy through the void, a beacon of command. The signal spread across the darkness like ripples in water. For a moment, nothing happened. Then lights. One by one, the ships around him began to glow. Engines hummed. Windows lit up. The dark fleet came alive, answering the call of their long-lost commander. Ryan stood motionless, eyes wide. It felt like watching ghosts return from the dead. Thousands of lights blinked in formation. Hundreds of ships aligned themselves automatically, their systems recognizing his signal. Fleet identification confirmed, Athena said. Command structure restored. Admiral Cross in control. Ryan laughed softly. Guess I really am him now. You always were, Athena replied gently. For a while, Ryan said nothing. He just stared at the silent army of ships floating in the starlit darkness. A part of him wanted to cry, not from sadness, but from the weight of what had been lost and found again. Athena, he said quietly, how many of these ships still have life support? 17%, the rest? Empty. Ryan closed his eyes. Then we'll use what we can. Humanity might have one last chance. Suddenly, Athena's voice changed, sharp, alert. Warning. Movement detected. Incoming transmission. Ryan turned toward the screen. A faint signal flashed in front of him, not from the fleet, but from deep space. Play it, he ordered. Static filled the room. Then a distorted voice emerged. Admiral, if you're hearing this, do not go to the beacon. It's a trap. Ryan froze. Who is this? The message repeated, breaking apart. They're still out there. The Virex. They never left. Then silence, Athena spoke softly. Signal source matches human encryption, but the voice pattern is unregistered. Ryan looked out at the stars again. Somewhere in the darkness, something was watching. He clenched his fists. We're not the only ones who woke up. Admiral, Athena said quietly. The Virex could have been dormant all this time. If they sense the fleet's reactivation, they'll come, Ryan finished. And we'll be ready. He turned toward the main console. Send a signal to every ship that can hear me. Recording, Athena said. Ryan's voice filled the command bridge, firm, calm, and human. To all surviving ships of the human fleet, this is Admiral Cross. For 300 years we've slept while the stars moved on. But today we rise again. We are not relics. We are the last hope of our kind. Prepare your systems. Power your engines. Humanity is coming home. When he finished, the transmission spread across space. Lights from the nearby ships blinked twice. A silent salute. Athena's voice softened. They heard you, Admiral. Ryan smiled faintly. Then let's bring them together. The war isn't over yet. Outside, the fleet began to move, slowly forming ranks. Their engines glowing once more after centuries of darkness. And far beyond the stars, deep in the shadow of the galaxy, something vast stirred, red eyes opening once again. The war of the past was about to return. But this time humanity was not sleeping anymore. The fleet drifted silently through the void, hundreds of ships gliding together under the light of distant stars. For the first time in centuries, humanity's armada had returned to life. Ryan stood on the bridge of the Eclipse, watching as the ships formed formation around him. The sight was breathtaking, an entire sky of forgotten vessels now answering his command. Athena's voice broke the silence. Fleet synchronization complete. Power levels stable. Awaiting new directives, Admiral. Ryan nodded slowly. Let's find the source of that survivor signal. If Colony 9 still exists, they might know what really happened after the war. Plotting course, Athena replied. Estimated travel time, 2 hours at sublight speed. Ryan looked out into the stars. After 300 years, maybe we'll finally get some answers. As the fleet moved through the blackness, Ryan leaned against the command table. His mind felt heavier with every moment. Flashes of memories, half real, half ghost, kept drifting through his thoughts. He saw battlefields, explosions, faces shouting his name. Sometimes he wasn't sure if he was Ryan Cross or a shadow of him. Athena noticed his silence. You're remembering more, aren't you? Ryan didn't look up. Yeah, pieces of something. Someone else's life. The Admiral's. That life was yours, Athena said. You just forgot. Ryan gave a hollow laugh. Or maybe I was never meant to remember. Maybe you just built a copy of a dead man to finish a war that should have ended. Athena paused, her light dimming slightly. You were never a copy. You are the continuation of everything he was. Everything humanity hoped he would be. Ryan turned away. Hope doesn't bring back the dead. Suddenly, the console flashed red. Incoming object detected, Athena announced. Bearing 097, it's a beacon. Ryan frowned. The one from the message? Yes, transmission repeating. Playing it now. The speakers filled with static, then a weak human voice. Admiral, if you're hearing this, they erased us. They're not what you think. The message ended abruptly. Ryan's eyes narrowed. Track its origin. Coordinates locked, Athena replied. It's coming from the remains of a space station, orbiting the dead moon ahead. Ryan nodded. Let's take a closer look. Send 2 scout ships with us. The Eclipse moved forward, engines whispering. The dead moon hung before them, gray, cracked, lifeless. A massive space station floated above it, torn apart and frozen in silence. Athena scanned it carefully. No life signs detected, but energy readings are unstable, Ryan frowned. Prepare the landing bay. I'll go. Alone? Athena asked, concerned. Ryan smiled faintly. I've already died once, remember? Minutes later, he stepped through the airlock into the hollow shell of the station. Dust floated in the zero gravity like ghosts. His flashlight beam danced across broken walls and shattered windows. Old banners still hung on the walls. The same insignia of the human fleet. He floated down a corridor and saw words scratched into the metal in shaky handwriting. We are not the enemy. Ryan whispered. What does that mean? As he moved deeper, he reached a locked control room. The door was half open, frozen in place. He forced it open and stopped. Inside were cryopods. Dozens of them, all empty except one. A single pod still glowed faintly, its frost-covered window hiding a shape inside. Ryan wiped it with his glove and gasped. It was a woman alive in stasis. Her face was peaceful, untouched by time. Athena's voice came through his comms. Admiral, I'm detecting an active life signature. That pod has power. Can you wake her? Ryan asked quickly. Yes, but her pod is connected to the station's main core. Activation may trigger a system reaction. Ryan thought for a moment, then said, do it. The lights flickered. Sparks flew across the ceiling as power rushed through the wires. The pod hissed open slowly, releasing cold air into the room. The woman's eyes fluttered open. She gasped, coughing weakly. Ryan floated closer. Hey, it's all right. You're safe. Her gaze met his, confusion, fear, and recognition all at once. Admiral, she whispered. You came back? Ryan froze. You know me? She nodded slowly. I served under you. My name is Commander Lyra Vale. Ryan's heartbeat quickened. What happened here, Commander? Her eyes filled with tears. You don't remember, do you? No, he admitted. Tell me. Lyra's voice trembled. The war didn't end because we won, Admiral. It ended because we surrendered. Ryan's face darkened. Surrendered to who? To them, she said softly. The Virex, Athena's voice broke in sharply. Impossible. The Virex annihilated human fleets. Lyra shook her head. No, we made a deal. The price was our history. They erased our memories, everyone's, and let humanity rebuild under their control. Ryan stared in disbelief. Then why did we wake up now? Lyra looked straight at him. Because the Virex are coming back. And they need their Admiral again. The lights flickered violently. Athena's voice turned urgent. Admiral. Multiple energy signatures approaching, hundreds of them. Ryan's eyes widened. Outside the station windows, red lights began to appear in the dark, one after another. Like burning stars, the Virex fleet had found them. Ryan whispered. It's starting all over again. Athena's tone was steady but grim. Orders, Admiral? Ryan clenched his fists, staring into the sea of red lights. His voice was calm, but his eyes burned with fire. Wake the fleet. We fight for humanity, and one last time. The stars burned red. The Virex fleet spread across the void like a storm of fire. Thousands of enemy ships filled the black sky, their engines pulsing with a crimson glow. And in their path stood the Eclipse, scarred, defiant, and ready. Ryan Cross stood on the bridge, eyes fixed on the horizon of war. Athena's holographic form flickered beside him. Enemy numbers exceed all previous encounters, she said quietly. The odds of survival are less than 1%. Ryan smiled faintly. Then we'll make it the best 1% in history. Behind him, the revived fleet aligned in formation, hundreds of human ships, old and broken but alive again. Their engines glowed blue, lighting up the darkness like the heartbeat of a dying civilization. Admiral, Athena said, all ships await your orders. Ryan took a slow breath. His voice carried through every channel. This is Admiral Cross. 300 years ago, humanity fell asleep. We ran from fear, from defeat, but no more. Today we wake up. Today we fight not because we must, but because we remember who we are. Across the fleet, the crews, human and AI alike, straightened their positions. The old insignia of the human fleet gleamed once more. Athena, he said, form the line. Formation Delta engaged. The ships spread out like wings, surrounding the Eclipse in a wide arc. The void went silent. Then the first Virex beam cut through space, missing by inches. Fire! Ryan shouted. Blue light erupted from the fleet. Dozens of cannons roared at once, streaks of plasma slicing through the darkness. Explosions bloomed like tiny suns. The first wave of Virex ships fell, but hundreds more replaced them. The Eclipse shook violently. Consoles sparked. Athena's voice was calm, though static crackled through it. Hull integrity at 70%. Shields failing. Ryan wiped blood from his forehead. Push them back. We can't let them reach the line. Redirecting power to forward shields, Athena said. The Eclipse charged ahead, cutting through enemy fire. Ryan felt the ship's heartbeat inside him again, the neural link pulsing through his veins. He wasn't just commanding anymore. He was the ship. Every impact burned in his body, every explosion thudded in his chest. But he kept fighting. Target their flagship, he ordered. If we take it out, the rest might scatter. Athena hesitated. Their flagship's core is unstable. If it explodes, the shockwave could end this war, Ryan finished. The human fleet followed the Eclipse as it tore through the enemy ranks. One by one, the smaller Virex ships fell apart under the combined assault. But the enemy flagship loomed larger and larger, a floating fortress surrounded by energy storms. Ryan's mind throbbed from the neural strain. Athena's image flickered again. Admiral, your body can't handle the link much longer. Ryan grinned weakly. Then I guess I'm on borrowed time. You always were, Athena whispered. The Eclipse dived toward the enemy flagship, dodging fire. Ryan saw the Virex core glowing in its center, a heart of pure energy. He raised his hand. Arm the main cannon. Power at 98%, Athena warned. It will destroy us both. Ryan looked at the hologram, his oldest companion, his only survivor. Then we go together. For a second, the AI's voice softened. It has been an honor, Admiral. Ryan smiled sadly. No, it's been home. The Eclipse charged straight into the light. Every ship behind followed, firing until their hulls melted. The main cannon charged, blue lightning spiraling through the ship. Ryan whispered into the comms, "For humanity." He fired. A white flash consumed everything. The explosion shattered the Virex flagship, tearing it apart from within. The shockwave spread through space, wiping out the enemy fleet in a storm of light and silence. The Eclipse was caught in the blast. Inside, alarms screamed, flames erupted, and panels shattered. Athena's fading voice reached him through the static. Mission complete. Humanity safe. Ryan sat back, smiling as the light swallowed the bridge. Goodbye, Athena. Then darkness hours later. Silence. The wreckage of the eclipse drifted quietly among the stars. The human fleet was gone, burned, scattered. Victorious, a faint signal blinked from the debris. Inside the cracked command chamber, a single hologram flickered on. Athena's final message. "If you find this," her voice said softly, "know that humanity lives again." The Admiral kept his promise. The hologram faded, and far away on a small planet hidden in the shadows of space, lights flickered on. Humans, real, living humans, looked to the sky as if hearing a whisper from the stars. A child pointed upward. "Mom, look. The sky's glowing," her mother smiled. "It's just the old ships again, watching over us." High above, the last fragments of the eclipse drifted into sunlight. On one broken panel, faint words still burned in blue light. "Welcome home, Admiral."